Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Welcome to the show, GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. My name is Brooklyn, and I'll be your host today. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I hope you're having an absolutely sunny, happy day inside and out today. Oh, don't you just love summer? There are always so many nostalgic memories I have with summer, like with foods and with activities and with people. One of my favorite things was being able to go to my aunt's house about once a week every day during the summer. She didn't live super close to me or, my family growing up, but during the summers we could take that time to go on the 45-minute drive to her house, and she had a pool in her backyard. Oh my goodness, I just thought that was the coolest thing. And so we would pick up some licorice and some lemonade and just have a ball spending the day there. That's one of my favorite summer memories. So I hope that you are enjoying some of your favorite summer traditions, even though things might look a little bit different this year. I hope you're still able to remember those things that make summer special for you. Another thing that's kind of special for me about summer is it's my birthday during the summer, and right now on the day that we're recording this, it is my birthday. So, thanks for listening to the podcast. What a great birthday present. And I've had such a fun day. I've really had a really good time with the couple people in my family here and enjoyed some really yummy food. It was really cute. We went into a sushi restaurant, had our masks on, of course, and they took our temperature, gave us hand sanitizer, and then we were allowed to order and take food. So that was really fun. And then I got to walk around a favorite park of mine that also has some fun summer memories for me there, and then drive through Del Taco and get a churro. Theirs is one of my favorite churros. I have an official, in my journal list of my top 5 favorite churros that I've ever had in my life. I love churros. They're one of my favorite foods ever. So it was a really great birthday, and I'm so grateful for my family and my friends giving me such a happy one. So I hope that whenever your birthday is, you have a happy one. And even though everyone's birthday is probably going to be celebrated a little bit differently this year, maybe you're not seeing as many people or doing the types of things that you were planning on doing, you're still grateful to live another year and grateful to have the people that love you around you, because I know I sure am grateful for those things. So welcome indeed to the podcast. Today, as always, we have uplifting, happy, inspiring, and fun stories to brighten your day so that you can remember that while there's lots of important news always moving through the channels, there's also important news and fun news that is good, positive, and uplifting. So don't forget that whatever you focus on, that's what really becomes your reality. So we're so glad that you chose to be with us here in this positive space. So let's move into our stories, shall we? Today we have as our headliners some really great news about COVID-19 and masks. And then later on, for our local segments, we'll hear about an opera singer singing on horseback, a mayor giving some great encouragement for education. Also going to talk about some really amazing videos I saw, including a rescue from a shark. Yes, and a list of things that will increase your summer fun for August coming up here. So lots of fun to be had. Let's get right into it. So first thing I want to talk about and tell you about is this incredible study that came out of Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, and it says making sense of the research on COVID-19 and masks. So last week, Brigham Young University came out with this study that they had done. They were analyzing the use of masks, people wearing masks in public places, and how it prevented COVID-19. Then, so later on, earlier this week, they came out with this article that is to kind of make sense of everything, lay out their findings in really simple terms. And I think this is a really cool article because while I was able to read a lot of different research papers in college and go through a lot of research, sometimes it's hard to get through that stuff because there's so much information going on. And of course you need that. They need to document everything, the methodology, the initiation of the study, all the details about the case studies or the types of people that they studied and how they studied them, and then the results in many, many different ways. And then this provides a little bit more than the abstract, but it just gives, in really simple terms, an applicable breakdown so that we can understand this information immediately and understand how it can be helpful to us right now. And so let me tell you a little bit about what they found. So during this global pandemic and election year, it's no surprise that there's public confusion about what measures can be used to effectively protect families and self during COVID-19. But this scientific and medical understanding of the disease is so important, and that's why a lot of research is being poured into it right now, right? So these researchers at Brigham Young University did not receive any funding to carry out the study, and they don't plan on seeking financial support on the topic, but they did want to provide this information free to the public. So that's a really important part of the study. Of course, education and research needs funding so that it can go out to the public and be effective, and so we can continually make scientific strides. However, sometimes when certain companies or organizations fund a study, sometimes researchers have a little bit of pressure to find research that might sway it in one direction or another to support or benefit the coalition that sponsors it. So this study is not sponsored by anyone in particular besides the university itself. So that really helps to know that the information is unbiased as it can possibly be. So that's really, really great. So this study was completed by a 4-person team, and they compiled and read over 115 scientific studies on COVID-19. They were done by independent groups from all around the U.S. and all around the world. And they break down this summary on their website in 3 levels of detail. First is an executive summary, second is a list of common questions, and then it goes into a deep dive, giving you all the information on details that you want. And it really gives really great information in short little pieces. So here's the top 5 takeaways from the study that they are providing. So first of all, in the first few months of the pandemic, there was a significant uncertainty about the usefulness of public masking. Conflicting guidance was given by several official sources. So we saw that right at the very beginning when the coronavirus started taking effect in the United States. We weren't sure how to react, what to do, and we kind of went into automatic lockdown mode. We very suddenly had this mandate to social distance and stay away from people as much as we possibly could, which was scary, right? But at first the CDC was asking us to wear masks, and then a little bit into it they said, well, it's probably not very effective, don't wear masks. And then now, really, most organizations, stores, and public leaders are coming down saying, let's all wear masks, and this is the most effective way in preventing the disease, so please wear them. And so, of course, it is normal to feel a little bit of confusion based on that guidance that we've gotten because several official sources have given conflicting guidance. However, that is, of course, to be expected in an unprecedented pandemic such as this one, where we are constantly learning new information about the virus, which is something that we've never seen, a virus like this in our lifetimes. And so we are able to receive new information every single day. And so, of course, the guidelines for safety are going to change on that. So this study is revealing that there is now convincing evidence from multiple controlled experiments and field observations that wearing masks reduces the transmission of COVID-19 for healthcare workers and for public personnel. Most of this evidence is COVID-19 specific and has emerged in the past few months. So this is very recent research and very extensive research that has been taken recently to prove that masks are really being effective. So point number 3 is that the way that the masks prevent the virus is by trapping respiratory droplets that are produced when we cough, speak, or breathe. The cloth masks can stop 90% or more of the dispersal of the droplets which would carry the virus. So, as we know, when we breathe, when we talk, of course, when we sneeze or cough, but when we're just around people breathing air, which is what you need to do, that's what spreads those respiratory droplets. That's what spreads a virus. So the most effective way they have found of preventing the spread through the air is by wearing a mask. And through their extensive measuring systems, they found that over 90% can be trapped inside the mask and not spread to somebody around them. That is a pretty amazing and significant number. And that leads right into point number 4, which is what they have found about masks being highly safe. They don't really have any side effects for the majority of people, and the biggest complaint that people have about them is just that they are uncomfortable sometimes. And so, of course, you might need to shop around or play with different patterns or different materials to see which type of mask is most comfortable for your face. But public masking has been proven safe among children, adults, and the elderly in cultures where the practice has been common for a long time. So, of course, it notes that sensitive individuals should not wear masks, such as those with severely compromised respiratory systems and individuals who cannot remove or adjust their own masks, such as children under 2 or people with severe disabilities. So what an amazing find that something so simple, nothing that you have to take, nothing that you have to do or that provides serious side effects, can be so effective in preventing a disease like a mask. So, number 5 in their point of simple summary of their research is that researchers from hospitals, universities, the private sector, and government agencies have concluded that masks could be one of the most powerful and cost-effective tools to stop COVID-19 and accelerate the economic recovery. So, of course, like we talked about last week, we're still waiting for that vaccine to come, and we're still waiting for better treatments to be available for COVID-19 as scientists, researchers, and medical personnel work so hard to find to research this new virus and to find things that can help it. And then to find that something as simple as masks could be so powerful in stopping the spread of the disease, but also promoting the economy as well. Because if we have something like a mask that can prevent us from transmitting or receiving the disease, then we can slowly and safely start to go back into restaurants, stores, the workplace, and the economy can start to flow again. So this is all really, really great information. If you want to read the full article, you can find it on byu.edu and just search for their new COVID-19 and masks study. So in the next section, they provide some answers to some commonly asked questions like how COVID-19 is transmitted and things like that. So one of the common questions is, are masks effective for individuals and communities? And they say through their evidence that they've gathered in this study is that there is clear evidence that face coverings reduce the spray of droplets that are produced by speaking, coughing, and sneezing. And the reason that they have been so recommended is that they are inexpensive and available to so many people, and that's why everyone should be able to wear one that does not have a different condition that should prevent them from wearing one, is that they are very inexpensive to buy or very easy to make, and the homemade and the store-bought ones are effective in reducing the disease. So they go into more details about whether or not masks are dangerous, and they say, of course, only for those who shouldn't be wearing masks, and if the mask is worn or taken on and off improperly. So this really is amazing research, and it's kind of a breakthrough study that can encourage us while we are doing for those of us who are trying to do our part, do our best to stop the spread of COVID-19 and to hopefully be able to resume those activities that we enjoy and that we need the most, which are in public, because when we're wearing a mask, we can really stop the spread together. So that is just such great news, and it's so reassuring to have research backing up the fact that we are this thing that we're trying to do, right? So, that is so awesome. So thanks so much for wearing a mask in public. And as we continue to do so, I think this research suggests that we'll be able to see a decline in the virus so we can continue to boost our economy. So, some very exciting stuff. And I have even more great news about masks and lots more fun things right after this little break. See you in just a sec. Hey, welcome back to GSMC, the
GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. So we have enjoyed some really great research so far about masks and how they really are helping slow the spread of COVID-19. Now let's hear some even greater stories about masks and how people are using their talents to distribute them to as many people as possible. This is a really special story about making masks accessible for everybody. Now, this article is entitled Life Without Barriers. It's a very special story that was spurred on by a very thoughtful grocery store worker. Her name is Ashley Knowles, and she was looking online to see if she could buy a mask that was having a clear panel in the middle because she felt like it was important that her customers could see her smile and that deaf customers could read her lips. She is familiar with the customers that come through her store every single day. So she wanted people to be able to see her face better, and she felt like her communication with her customers was getting worse with the extended need to wear a mask. So she felt like she really wanted one with a panel in the middle that was clear so people could see her face, and she came across Dr. Brian Travers' clear masks on Instagram. She knew she had to have one, and so she wrote him right away and was so excited about being able to get this mask that would help people see her smile and read her lips if they were deaf, but also without risking their health. When she requested this mask, the maker of the mask, Brian Travers, he felt so moved that he wrote a letter to her managers to let them know what a special employee they had. This sweet employee, Elsie, says, "I like to smile, and I think that this pandemic is making everyone upset, and I want to make my customers happy with my smile." This sweet woman works in a grocery store in Florida, and she really inspired the person that is sewing these masks by telling her story. So he says, "Elsie's reason for wanting my clear, see-through facial covering with a plastic window is the most selfless reason I have ever come across. She is clearly an asset to her organization." So I think this story really hit home with Travers because the reason he makes these masks is that he is a former doctor, a physician, who actually lost his hearing in 2002. He struggled with a OI disorder that makes bones really, really brittle, and he has suffered over 70 fractures throughout his life, and in 2002 he actually lost his hearing. So his situation has gone in and out of being really dire in his life, and so he has been able to turn to making masks. And he said that as soon as he started doing it, he absolutely fell in love with sewing. And he's such a sweet guy. He's got these awesome glasses, and there's a picture in the article of him with his sewing machine. And he says that when he first went deaf, he started relying on lip reading to communicate with others so he could understand what they were saying and then also communicate back. But with everyone starting to wear masks, he could not read lips anymore, obviously, because their mouths were covered. And so he said that he started pulling away from the activities where he might have to communicate with masked people, like at the grocery store, and it was really weighing on him. And so he decided to start making masks with a window for open communication. He said, "The mask is required, but it is a barrier. Why don't we adopt this idea of masks with a window for open communication?" And so he sat at the dining room table and looked at the masks that he had, and he came up with his own safe design for a mask with a clear window in the middle. He said, "I fell in love with sewing. I had completed a few hundred orders. I have a few hundred orders that are still waiting and still coming in. It's not just the product, it is the purpose. I am honored about that." So in May, he was actually able to receive bilateral cochlear implants that will help him hear a little bit better. But he says that he spent 9 months after his initial operation learning how to walk and talk. He says, "Now I'm still a full-time dad, house husband, and now business owner, mask maker. My whole life has been giving back to people." And he says that's what's really important to him, is helping people with the things that are barriers to them, making those things better. And also being able to bring people closer together. And so now that he makes these masks, hundreds of people, as you heard, are ordering them and hoping that they can have them so that they can smile or do something as important as communicate with people that read lips and just make the communication much better. He is really removing that barrier and allowing people to stay safe while also enjoying the activities that they can. And now, how special is that now we know that how important masks are in preventing the spread of the virus, that it can be even better now with these types of masks. So I love what he says at the end here. He says, "How great is life when there are no barriers? A smile is the greatest way to introduce yourself. All these times we may have taken for granted interacting with people." It's true. Didn't you take for granted the fact that you could see people at the grocery store before, or just be in a place with lots of other people? I know that like in April, after a couple weeks of lockdown, I would go for a walk maybe pushing my stroller or something, and if I saw somebody across the street, I would just like wave and be like, hi, how are you? Are you hanging in there? You know, just another human to talk to in person, even across the street, was just like, oh, such a treat. You know, obviously we don't really know what we have, and we can take it for granted until it's taken away. And that's a kind of a cliche, but a lesson we're really learning this year. And I think that's a really wonderful opportunity to be more grateful. And again, this story is helping us see how people can use their experiences, even if they've been difficult. They can use those experiences to remember what their talents are and apply those in a positive way to help others. So this wonderful doctor, Dr. Brian Travers, he has had issues with his health throughout his life and wasn't able to do a lot of the things that he loves to do, including his career as a doctor once he lost his hearing. But now he can channel that energy into making these masks and making people's lives even better. So what a special article that was. And also wonderful credit goes to that great grocery store employee, Alcy. What a cute name that is. Alcy, the woman who searched to find a mask where she could better serve her customers. I thought that was a really, really sweet story. One more little thing on the subject of masks is a wonderful nonprofit group giving out 5,000 masks in Macon, Georgia. So the Power of Life Foundation is traveling the Southeast, giving away thousands of masks at each stop. This past week, they started in Macon, Georgia, and they gave away masks on Saturday in Macon, Georgia, and they gave away 5,000 of them. This came about because they were feeling the pressure. They know that health officials are urging people to wear masks to slow the spread of COVID-19, and so the nonprofit group wanted to make sure that people in their community had the masks that they needed, especially if they couldn't make one or go out and buy one. So from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Tubman Museum in downtown Macon, the Power of Life Foundation stood there, and people could drive through the parking lot and just get as many masks as they needed. They are also donating close to 2,000 additional masks to area organizations. So really, there are opportunities to get masks anywhere that people need them. So they also accept donations to help them continue their mission, monetary or mask donations, and their next stops include Atlanta, Georgia, and also they're heading to Florida and Alabama. So just a really great short story there about how they know masks are helping out, and so they wanted to get one to people where they need them. I am really seeing that you can get masks almost anywhere now where you need them. I got some really cute masks at Joann Fabrics. I got a purple one and also like a really pretty white and gray marble pattern looking one there. And there, the elastic straps are actually really soft and comfortable on my ears. So those have been really, really nice. Also, if I use the disposable ones, I saw this really cool trick online where a nurse shared that she took just a strip of fabric that's long enough to go across the back of her head, and then sew 2 buttons on each end of it, and then you can just stretch the mask cords that go around your ears. You can stretch them around those buttons instead to avoid the maybe fatigue or annoying pain that you might get behind your ear from wearing a mask for an extended period of time. So if that's been a little uncomfortable for you, you can try one of those hacks, I guess, one of those little tricks to help make it a little bit better. All right, I also want to throw in a little bit of a happy, exciting video here. So obviously you can't see a video. This is a podcast, but I want to tell you about this amazing video I saw of an off-duty Florida officer pulling a boy away from a nearby shark. This video is really scary. There is, as it starts, it's beautiful blue water, of course. a beautiful day, not many people on the beach, and this boy, maybe he's like 7, 8, or 9 years old, he is swimming in the ocean, having a grand old time, and then like 2 feet behind him, you see that fin, as if it's like in a movie, just like swimming and pacing behind him. And it's definitely a shark, and people that are much farther back in the beach are starting to notice, and they're like, oh no, like there's a shark there, and they're trying to get the boy's attention. And so a man's standing nearby, very, very close by, actually turned out to be an off-duty Florida officer, and he noticed, he's like, hey buddy, like, he is really, what impresses me the most is he really stays calm. He takes charge, and he actually goes in the ocean, grabs the boy, and pulls him onto the beach to safety. But he also stays calm. He doesn't freak out the boy by approaching him, as a stranger. But he just really calmly, like, explains that he's there and, like, letting him know that there's danger close by. And so he gets the boy, like, right as the shark comes closer to him. It's really nerve-wracking, but really amazing, and just, I thought, incredible with this. Of course, you do not want anybody to get hurt, but just the courage of that man to go into potential harm's way to save somebody is really, really special. So, I just thought that was a really fun video that I wanted to share. So, what can we learn from these stories? Let's have a little reflection moment, shall we? I think that, again, it's really great that in this slightly more difficult year, we've seen so much more love, compassion, service, and overall outreach from small and big communities that are trying to help each other and closer-knit families as we go along this ride that is 2020, right? It's really amazing and inspiring to see these stories about how families are coming closer together and people are using their talents to help each other. So keep those stories in mind as you think about the things that you're planning to do this week. Of course, we need to focus on our own goals and keeping yourself healthy and well and doing the good things for yourself. But also look around in your neighborhood, in your city, and in your state, and in your online circles, and see if there's somebody who maybe needs help. If there's somebody who recently lost somebody, how can you help them? Or if there is a family member that you could have a stronger relationship with, maybe you can give them a little compliment today and help them out and feeling happier then. All right, we have a lot more fun and exciting stories up ahead, including that amazing singer on Horseback. So stay tuned, and after the break, we'll get right into that story.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Yokoso, modotte, arigatou gozaimasu. Oh, sorry. I found the English switch now. Welcome back to the GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I have some more fun stories here for you And I think you're going to love these. These are really, really fun ones. So, have you been watching America's Got Talent? It's one of our favorite shows here in America because it stars usually 3 or 4 judges who are really good at discerning talents. And it's like a really big talent show, right? So usually there's a huge audience and people come in nervous but excited to audition, showcasing their talents on a big stage for usually the first time. And the crowd gets to be there to give a totally like raw response, and then the judges determine if they can go on to the next round and compete for the coveted $1 million prize and spot for a show in Las Vegas. It's a really, really fun show. However, this year, just like lots of other shows, it's been taking us kind of a turn into the remote type. You know, they're doing the show remotely, basically, right now. Just like lots of other shows. So maybe like your favorite talk show host has been doing their show from home, or one of your favorite sitcoms has been delayed or something. But like so many TV shows, America's Got Talent has been forced to pivot away from the glitzy stage and is now producing remote episodes. So the 4 judges all tune in from their houses, and they live call somebody through a video call and watch them do their audition right there on camera. So the judges are Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Sofia Vergara, and the host Terry Crews is also there, and they all watch from their homes. Now, we have an article here about an amazing contestant who auditioned singing opera, not too unusual for the show. Oh, but she did it on horseback. That's right. Erin McCarthy lives in rural Oregon, where she is at home on stage and she's at home out in the barn. She loves both of these things, so she thought, hey, why not put them together for my America's Got Talent audition? She told Simon Cowell that she tried to make a go of pursuing her opera career back in her 20s, but life happened and her dream never really got off the ground. So she's hoping that now this will be a new start for her and she'll be able to make all of her entertainment dreams come true. So they thought, okay, looks like a beautiful place, because at first the camera was just positioned like about on half of her body and you couldn't see that she was on a horse. Then once the judges said, okay, go ahead, do your performance, then the camera like panned out, and then there you go, whinnying and moving around, there is a horse. And it was so amazing. Not only was she an incredible singer, but it was really fun to see her riding the horse around as she sung. It is a really amazing videos. She got 3 yeses from the judges, and she is through to the next round. Heidi Klum said, "This is so ridiculous. It's a yes." Simon Cowell actually voted no, but he said, "I do love you, and you are so funny." And since she earned the 3 votes, she is through to the next round. So that is so amazing. I just love this video. She really went for it in her audition, and I love that she made it unique with something that she loves to do, riding horses. And I mean, she probably would not have been able to have the same experience if she auditioned in person, right? She sang her beautiful song. She's in a gorgeous blue dress. She looks amazing. And she's also in front of a million gorgeous trees and on a very beautiful horse. So this is a very inspiring story. I love how she really incorporated her favorite things all together for her audition there. And it paid off. She's through to the next round. So I'm excited to see where she goes with that. All right, are you ready for something else great? Speaking of making your dreams come true, the mayor of East Palo Alto is proving that it's never too late to get a degree. So here in East Palo Alto, California, this mom and mayor is making a difference in her community by showing them it's never too late to achieve your dreams, especially in education. She says her education was delayed, but it's not denied. Let's see. This wonderful mayor's name is Lisa go through, and her journey to college graduation looked a little bit different than maybe is typical. She actually did not finish college when she was younger, and however, she has a talent for making strong connections. She is very well spoken, and she can really put herself out there. So she is currently serving her 3rd term as mayor. So on the outside, it might look like she is thriving, but she still felt like there was one thing missing inside. She really wanted, as an elected official, to have a college degree. She wanted to be that example to youth and everybody in her community to have a degree so that they would know that it's a possibility and it's something that's worth working for. So in 2018, she was accepted despite a very hectic schedule, mind you. I mean, she's the mayor of her town. She enrolled in school, and she was able to start school through a program on study.com. This is a really amazing website started by a man who was the first generation graduate of college in his family, and he wanted to pay that opportunity forward by providing a place where 25 people in any given area would be able to enroll for free in college classes and receive their diploma. So Lisa said it allowed her to cobble her time together and online get through this program and get her college degree. She worked really hard, and in the span of 18 months, she was in cap and gown walking across the stage to receive her diploma. So according to study.com, 33 million Americans have some college credit, but no degree. Lisa was so inspired by her experience that she actually now works full-time for the study.com company. She hopes to inspire her community as the mayor and leads through example with her college degree. She says she looks at this as opportunity of the way that her education was delayed, but not anymore, because she has arrived and she has made it. She even has inspired her kids to, one of her kids who didn't go to college initially was inspired, and he went back to school because of his mom. How special is that? I love this story, and it's so sweet because she got to a place in life where she decided she wanted her kids' education to take precedence over her own, and so she said that she had a limited amount of funds for education, so she started saving it so her kids could actually go to college, and she didn't think she'd ever be able to finish up. But in her 3rd term as a mayor, she thought, okay, I really want to be a good example, and this is something that I value, and so it's something that I want to accomplish. So if that's not a great example of accomplishing your dreams, I don't know what is. So think about what your dream is and take a small step tonight towards making it. I will say that I got to graduate college last year too, and it wasn't, I'm sad to say now, but it wasn't something I was initially interested in pursuing. However, with encouragement from people that are really close to me, I kind of looked into programs and slowly got interested, and also had the wonderful opportunity to go to college. And of course, it has enriched my life in so many ways. Not only did I learn in my classes concrete educational principles and things to do with my degree, but I got to meet people I otherwise wouldn't have, people from so many different countries, cultures, and ways of life, that it gave me so many new perspectives and things that have really benefited me in my life now. So I'd say a college education is so important and just a really great thing to strive for if you feel like it's right for you. And many options available for scholarships and grants and areas to find a college that is right for you. All right, don't worry. We're not going to a break yet. I have one more fabulous story that might sound a little bit scary because it starts with cancer, but it's really an incredible story about a grateful young woman who was saved by a lucky viewer. So, a Florida TV reporter is diagnosed with cancer, but is forever grateful to a viewer who spotted the lump on her neck. This reporter has just recently posted on Instagram about her upcoming surgery. She says that as a journalist, it's been full throttle since the pandemic began, never-ending shifts and a never-ending news cycle. We were covering the most important health story in a century, but my own health was the farthest thing from my mind. This 28-year-old reporter in Florida got an email from a viewer after the news one night on June 4th. The email said, "Hi, I just saw your news report. What concerned me is the lump on your neck. Please have your thyroid checked. Reminds me of my neck. Mine turned out to be cancer. Please take care of yourself." So she was really shocked to see this email because she had not noticed anything strange about her neck or anything going on. But a concerned viewer wrote in saying, "Hey, I see this and it looks similar to something that I experienced. Maybe go have that checked." So she found the lump on her neck, and although she thought it was barely perceptible, she went into her doctor and asked about it the next day. And indeed, after some testing, it ended up to be thyroid cancer, and she will actually go into surgery this week to have it removed. She says, "This will hopefully be my first and last procedure. Had I never received that email, I never would have called my doctor. The cancer would have continued to spread." This is an incredible story because, again, she just says how she would not have noticed it otherwise. And so I'm really glad that viewer was looking out for her, and it just goes to show that how when you experience something, even if it's super hard, it's something that can really help you in the future, help somebody else. And I love how she connects this little motto here. She says that her TV station that she reports on, Channel 8, their motto is 8 on your side. And for her, that has really become more than a catchphrase, because she says, "I found a viewer that was on my side, and I couldn't be more grateful." She had zero obligation to tell me, but she did anyway. Talk about being on your side, huh? The world is a tough place these days. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Oh, I just love that. I love how that viewer was looking out for somebody and took the time to actually send in an email to let them know why they were concerned. So again, think of a way that maybe you can help somebody around you, or maybe you can help them by sharing this podcast with them. If you're enjoying the things that you're listening to right now, maybe share the podcast with a friend or your mom or your boyfriend or whoever you think could use a little bit of good news in your life. P.S. That's everybody. Everybody could use some good news. Everybody could use some good news in their life, so share the podcast with somebody. And hey, are you following us on social media yet? That's the place to connect with us, share with us your positive stories of the day, and find out about new episodes right away. You can find us on Instagram at GSMC_ASB, or you can also find us on Twitter, GSMC, at GSMC America, and we're also on Facebook. You can just search up GSMC Podcast Network. Go like us and follow us on those pages. Anyone that you use will do. We will love to see you over there. And go ahead and jump into the comments and introduce yourself. Tell us your name, where you're from, or just tell us some way that you are staying positive these days, or tell us the best thing that happened to you today. We just love hearing from our listeners, and we will totally respond to you in the comments as well. All right, don't go away, because in the next section, I have a list of 6 great summer date ideas for couples in quarantine. They're also all ideas that you could use with friends, family members, lots of fun things to do in the summer despite the current situation. So stay tuned for that so you can hear me say the word "so" some more times, and we'll see you after that. Thanks so much.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
You're listening to GSMC, the America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Brooklyn, and I'm so happy for all the stories that we've heard already today. And we have the opportunity to finish up today with an amazing list of things you can do to keep making good news in your life. So the good news is there's still lots of fun things that can be done this summer before we get to the end of it. Whether you're going back to school this fall, starting a new job, or just heading into colder weather, still savor those summer days with some really fun activities. An article in USA Today that was published can help us think of some great ideas of things to do in this summer, even things that are pandemic safe. So the first one is to have a picnic by candlelight. So these you are so awesome to bear with me. These ideas are things that are originally thought up to do with couples, but by reading through all of these, I can see that these can definitely be done with a friend or somebody that is in your family, your siblings, your parents, anybody that you want to hang out with. You can adapt these based on whether you are living in the same space and already sharing the same air, or if you want to do these social distance style, they all work for that as well. So the first one is to have a picnic. With summer officially here, plenty of people are looking for fun dates outside, and so one classic option is a picnic. You can have one in your backyard, in a nearby park, far away from other people, and it can be any kind of food that you want. You can go fancy, takeout, or you can make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. A picnic is the perfect way to get into nature, get a little change of scenery, and I think conversation flows even better outside. So eating outside with somebody, cozied up on a blanket, or if you're going social distance style, you could each bring like a lawn chair or your own blankets, bring your own lunches, and eat and see somebody from 6 feet apart. It's still a really fun experience. So you could do it early in the morning, catch the sunrise if you're feeling really adventurous, or you could even do it at sunset. That's a really pretty thing to do if you want to face the west and watch the sun go down on your town. That's a really fun time to do it. The second fun idea on here is to pose for a socially distanced portrait. Hey, have you ever been drawn, or have you ever drawn somebody else? Maybe you are an expert artiste listening to this podcast, or maybe your extent of art goes with the drawing stick figures of your math teacher in 6th grade. Well, this is a really good idea, I think, for people that are good at drawing and those who are just barely picking up a pencil. But you may be spending a lot of time with somebody, and so you're kind of seeing them in a new light. So for those who want to try their hand at painting or drawing, there is this recommendation to try doing a portrait of the person that you are doing the activity with. This can be done outside with social distancing, obviously, or it could be a night in for you and your partner. Even if you don't have an artistic ability, you could go onto YouTube and find some basic drawing tutorials if you want to kind of up your skills before you start. It might not seem that exciting at first, but people that have done this say that it's actually a really interesting experience, and there's something really cool about just sitting still and being seen by somebody else that is drawing you. Of course, everybody wants to be seen and heard and understood, and so it can be really interesting to see how somebody else sees you through a drawing, and then also having that same experience by drawing them back. I could see this kind of being like a 2-night thing. Maybe one night you draw them, and then the next day they draw you. I think this would be really, really cool. And then if you live in the same place, you could like frame these up and put them in your house or give them to each other as gifts. I really like that idea. That's really cool. All right, number 3 is to solve a puzzle. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a simple date idea, but it, has some deep meaning. You can get a new puzzle from any store, basically. I know Target and Walmart has them. Obviously, you can order them on Amazon or go for some smaller shops online. Get a new puzzle, or there's probably one like in your basement somewhere, or maybe at your mom's house. They have that really humongous, scary Christmas puzzle that's the one that you want. The one with the most pieces, so you can spend the most time doing it, where you sit down, your phones are away, and you work on this puzzle together with somebody. That is some quality time well spent. Whenever I do a puzzle with somebody, seriously, like sometimes the best conversations come out, or we just are there silently for like 30 minutes at a time, not really saying anything, but doing the same thing for a common purpose. And that just feels really good. It's so therapeutic to just focus on one thing and then accomplish it together. Something subconscious starts to happen as you're like sitting there with each other, trying to figure out how the puzzle pieces fit together. And then so maybe you can figure out how the pieces of your life also fit together. How awesome is that? This next idea I love is to be a tourist in your own city. There are many ways that we cannot travel right now. However, there are still ways to go about and see the sights without boarding a plane or getting on a cruise ship, right? This date idea is to look up on Google any famous landmarks that may be in your town or nearby, or just things that are really highly rated on Google Maps or something, and just do a little day trip of a tour of your town. Go see that little mountain that you haven't ever really looked at before, or that statue of historical importance, or just going somewhere to see things that you haven't seen in your own town for a while, or that you've never really understood before. This can give you deeper appreciation for your town and also be a fun way to spend time with somebody that you really like. This is also a great idea that would go really well with the next idea, which is to go on a romantic scavenger hunt. And of course, if you're not on a date, it doesn't have to be romantic, but this is another fun way for couples to get out of the house going on a scavenger hunt. You can plant clues for your partner that lead to different locations, either important to your relationship or totally brand new places. Again, you could do this through the whole entire town or just through your house and backyard. You could do it in a park. This would be really fun. You lead to the place maybe where you first met, or to the place that you found out something really important, and it's really fun. And I think if you set this up as a surprise, maybe before your partner like finishes work or something, then it could be really surprising and unexpected, and just like create a really fun new environment. Okay, the last idea here is to create your own drive-in theater. So that's kind of a classic date or friend hangout idea, right? Is to go into the drive-in theater. It is a classic thing to do. So much fun to see movies that way, but many of those theaters are not operating at the moment, so you can go ahead and create your own. If your town doesn't offer drive-ins, you can make your own by setting up a portable screen and projector in your driveway, or you could even watch a movie like on a laptop or something in your car. You can actually get projectors pretty inexpensively these days, or you can borrow one from your friend next door who maybe that makes a lot of sales pitches. They probably have one of those, or a teacher or something. Borrow a projector, and those just easily hook up to your laptop so you could watch your Netflix outside in your car, or you can make it like picnic style on a blanket. That, I think, sounds like so much fun. So those are some really good ideas for dates and hangout things that you can do with people that you like. Also, we mentioned earlier that you can follow us on social media and let us know one of your favorite ideas for a date or hangout. What have you been doing to stay connected to your loved ones during this time of social distancing? Well, I can tell you that it sure feels good to be reunited with the people that you love, right? And that's why our last story today is a really cute one. It's a video described in this way. A bull refuses to be parted from a cow and reunited after a video of him chasing the vehicle the cow was being transported in. And this video has gone viral. So, this is a touching video of affection between a bull and a cow in Nadu. And the video is just going around and around on the internet. It is seriously viral. In the video, the bull is seen circling a lorry, which is a little attachment to a truck where a cow is in. And he's sticking his head in to protest against the transportation of the cow he is smitten with. The heartbreaking visuals show that the bull tenaciously chases the lorry, carrying the cow for over 1 kilometer in order to stop it from taking away the cow. So, this video is so cute. And in the video, eventually the two are reunited, and the bull is so excited to see the cow, and they kind of like cuddle up to each other. Truly, these two are soulmates, I think. That is just super adorable, and I love it. Alright, I really hope you enjoyed all the stories today. I think that is such a cute one to end on there. And of course, we want to give you some inspiring words to part with today. So, are you ready? This is our quote for today. Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. That's from William James. This quote was said to encourage people with their efforts. Oh, this quote actually reminds me of a really, really good video. You should look it up on YouTube. It's called "You Never Know How Much Good You Do," or something like that. It's about this like mom, and she has this really long day of like her kid forgets the science project, and then she's trying to take dinner to people that need it, and then she's supposed to meet her cousin at the airport because she has a quick layover, and she finally gets to see her, but then she gets caught up in lots of things, and everything else goes wrong, and there's traffic, and so she doesn't actually get to go there, and so she feels like her whole day is a failure. But then the day kind of plays back, and you can see all this good that she's done to help other people and to create love inside of her family. So I love that video, and that quote reminds me of it, because we are never going to see all of the repercussions of the good things that we do, right? Rarely do our good deeds get rewarded right away, or even rarer, just does somebody write a story about it. But that's what we want to do with this podcast, is bring light to the amazing things that people are doing in the world, so you know about them, and so that you're encouraged to go on and continue doing those good works for yourself. So thanks so much for creating good in the world, and thanks for joining us on this podcast. Don't forget that all the good that you do really is counted in the world of karma, and the kindness that you give people is probably recognized a lot more than you even realize. I'm sure that you can quickly think of an experience of somebody that was kind to you, or a small action that made you feel really valued, and it never does anyone. It never is a bad thing to give some good, give some kindness to somebody else. So thank you so much for listening today to the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast, of course brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. You can even listen on YouTube, of course, always for free. Don't forget to share the show with a friend and follow us on social media. And, of course, have a great week. Tune in later. We'll have even more episodes for you coming right up. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast.